Awesome. Greetings, homeschoolers for college credit community. So grateful that you are here. Um, no pressure, but if you want to turn your cameras on, I'd love to see you. If you are indisposed, of course, no worries at all. Feel free to keep your cameras off and microphones off if you would like. My name is Josh. I'm going to be introducing our team as a few people drift in. I see you, N. Rice. Thank you for turning on your camera. Always nice to see you. N, what's your first name?
Natalie,
Natalie. Very nice to meet you. I'm
nice to
Josh.
meet you. Hi, Josh.
Thank you for joining. Tori, I see you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So my name is Josh. I'm the founder and CEO of the program. I'm going to introduce a couple of team members that we have in the room while we wait for, a couple of stragglers to get in. But let me introduce first, and if you don't mind introducing yourself, our Chief Operating Officer and longtime caretaker here at Written Out Loud, Maria DiGregorio.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maria, and it's really, really nice to have you all here. Thank you for taking a full hour, a few minutes out of your busy day, busy week. So we really appreciate you for being here. But yeah, I've been with Written Out Loud for a little over 4 years, and I actually started as a story director, which is the term we use for our teachers. And I still remember teaching my very first Written Out Loud class, and I immediately thought, okay, this is different, this is special, this works. Kids have a lot of fun and they learn so much and so many new things about writing. They just realize that we can write about what we want to write about. We can do it our own way. We can do it out loud. We can do it with peers in a fun environment. And above anything else, they really learn, they really improve their writing skills, and it's really, really impactful and wonderful to see the amazing results on our storytellers. So thank you again for being here. Like Josh said, I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Written Out Loud. You probably received an email from me a few hours ago reminding you of our virtual info session. So thank you for being here. I primarily am in contact with our family customers. So I hear a lot from our parents, from our storytellers. I help a lot with program delivery and a few other things. And I think, overall, we're really, really happy to have you here and to tell you more about Written Out Loud and to show you how Written Out Loud works.
Thank you so much, Maria. Awas, are you there, sir? If you're in transit, no worries. Just give us a sign if you can turn off your microphone and say hello. You're good either way.
Hi, I'm actually not able to turn on my camera. My name is Daniela, and I'm from Clarksville, Maryland, and I homeschool two boys.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Daniela. Appreciate it. I was going to throw the ball to another
Yeah.
colleague of ours, but I think he's in transit. Oh, Awas,
Hey, I'm sorry. Yeah, I am in transit and it's quite loud, but it's nice to be with you all. Love the energy and excitement already and eager to hear more about the needs of our homeschooling community and how we can support it. So thanks, Josh.
No, you bet. All right. So I've got about a 20, 25-minute presentation, and my goal is really to listen to y'all as well as, of course, inform you about the program. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the blue presentation in front of you. Yay. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for being here. My name is Joshua Shelov. I am the founder and CEO of Written Out Loud and an adjunct professor at Yale University. I am so honored to be speaking with you. Let me thank Jennifer DeRosa for your enthusiasm for our methodology and for our company. And thank you all to every one of you families who's joining us and being a part of this conversation. Our hope for this meeting is that it is indeed a conversation. We are here to listen as well, if not more so than to speak. And this is, I might add, one of the core tenets of our program. We have important lessons to teach children, but our program really comes alive when our students are speaking, creating, laughing, and collaborating. So let's begin. What is Written Out Loud? Well, before I tell you what our program is, I am going to let you see for yourself. So let me know with a thumbs up if you can hear the amazing kids creating inside of our session.
So look. That's me. Okay. Wait, but I need to teach you. But how do you make the picture? I'm just nervous.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. Am I the only one who didn't bother to change out of pajamas?
Also, if you're picking your nose, you can just go like this. Okay. Also, you can click on chat. You can chat with people. Wait. Come on, chat. They start with a plot, an idea.
It's like a fantasy world?
Like a mystery, kind of.
Like a little drama in it, maybe?
Each person make the story of one of the clans.
Oh, yes! That's a great idea!
This government kind of has replaced the government we have now.
What if, like, the corrupted wizard made scary monsters that the people had to fight?
I like that.
Can we do a pig named Bacon? Yes.
Say what you need to say.
Maybe something like similar to Percy Jackson.
I really enjoy comedy.
Gilmore Girls.
Harry Potter.
The Hunger Games is a big one for me.
What do the buildings look like in this empire?
I think they're very modern.
Very modern, yeah.
I just imagined that one scene of him on the witness stand.
The last chapter that I wrote today, the father does find out about Angela's powers.
Oh, cool.
One hand, Salsa's holding a giant bucket. In the other hand, he's holding a chicken wing like a sword. Hey, yeah, because how did
One at a time.
Every clan has like someone named Jimmy.
No, we can't do that.
The Luna one is new. Sophia did that one.
I imagine him a little fluffier.
John wrote a character called Jeannie, and Ava wrote a character called Ava. Did I just say Ava wrote a character called Ava?
So, by the way, every once in a while, my lights may go out. So if I wave my arms like this, I'm just turning on the automatic lights. As I present, please ask any questions that you have in the chat, and then we can review the questions that you have at the end of the presentation. And of course, obviously listen to any questions that you want to mention contemporaneously. So go ahead and type them in the chat as I talk. How does written out loud work? Well, our origin story helps to illuminate the details of what the program is. You know, for most of my adult life, I was a professional screenwriter and a director, and I was very, very lucky enough to write for Disney and Warner Brothers, HBO, and a lot of the other major studios. And the most important thing that I learned in Hollywood by far is that writing is not considered to be a solitary act. The critical beginning of the writing process, as you can see in these images, happens in what is known as a Hollywood writer's room, which is not a room full of writers typing. What's really happening inside a Hollywood writer's room is listening, speaking, collaborating. Nobody actually begins typing or writing alone using text until they've spent hours, days, and weeks in this collaborative out loud format. And that is why their writing is so inspired, because they use each other as teammates first, and they build the spirit of their story together. And the more I worked inside a Hollywood writer's room, the more I realized that what it really resembles is this. Now, this is the oldest and most important technology the human species has ever devised. And I know when I'm speaking to homeschoolers that I'm speaking to fellow travelers when it comes to understanding the value of this ritual, gathering in small groups in order to exchange experiences out loud, in order to synthesize a single way forward made up of the community's collective beliefs. After I worked in Hollywood for a while, I came to realize that small group out loud storytelling was simply not something that most kids are taught as a means of helping to inspire writing. And as a father, raising and teaching my own kids and seeing that they were deeply frustrated with the way that writing was being taught to them in schools, I began shaping this idea into a curriculum. So I designed this curriculum first as a college seminar. I graduated Yale in 1993 as a history major. Unfortunately, they saw the value in this methodology and they welcomed me back as a professor in 2007, where I began teaching this methodology to college students, and it worked. It was as plain as day that my students' writing became more energized and productive after telling their stories out loud and working with other students as sounding boards and collaborators. So I began to introduce the method to younger kids and getting them to love writing at the ages that matter most, in upper elementary, middle, and high school years. So I began doing exactly what you're doing, teaching my own kids. That's my son, Owen, on the right there, listening to his best friend, Chris, who's one of our teachers now at Written Out Loud. And that's the very first Written Out Loud creative crew. And I learned that younger kids were even more enthusiastic about the methodology that college kids had also fallen in love with. And in fact, their stories were so inspiring that I began publishing their stories as books. So then COVID hit after I'd been teaching the program for 2 years, and I put up one Facebook post in March of 2020 offering to teach kids on Zoom. And within 2 months, the program expanded by 10x nationwide. And remote learning provided a significant advantage because now we could group like-minded kids together from across the country. So a creative 12-year-old in Oregon could co-author a book with a creative kid in Illinois. So after a couple of years, we had kids repeating the program 3 times, 4 times, 7 times, 9 times. We have 14-year-old kids with 10 published books on their shelves today. Well, when kids started bringing in their published books to their classrooms, schools started to call us. And those kids you see in front of you holding up their books, they go to H.C. Crittenden Middle School in Armonk, New York, and today every single 8th grader graduates Crittenden as a published author every single year, 200 authors per year. And today we have worked with over 5,000 kids, over 75 schools and districts. Every single student graduates as a published author, and without question, some of our most like-minded families have been our homeschool families. And I probably don't even need to tell you why, but I will. Our homeschool families truly prize literacy. Writing and storytelling aren't just boxes that you're checking. You are deeply invested in your children's writing and storytelling ability, and you know that writing and storytelling simply aren't igniting young learners' passion the way that writing is typically taught in schools. And as the age of AI rears its head, it's simply not an option for our kids to shortchange their writing and storytelling abilities. AI will belong to the storytellers, those who can look each other in the eye and tell a confident, well-crafted story and then write it compellingly. Everyone who cannot command these skills is likely to be working for AI. Well, now I'm grateful to call upon a Written Out Loud homeschool parent whose daughter Nadia is one of those remarkable, considerate, and empathetic young learners we have ever had in the program. Elizaveta Batum, I would be honored if you would say a few words about your experience and Nadia's experience, of course, with Written Out Loud.
Thank you, Josh. I'm not as powerful of a speaker you are, so I do have some cheat sheet notes that I have printed from having written about our experience. But I think I was one of those who had calculated and saw your ad on Facebook one evening as I was thinking about the writing. So I will just begin that I've been homeschooling my 3 children from the very beginning. So it goes for about 8 years now. Our littlest one has kind of caught on, and she has to keep up with the eldest just because I didn't really have to create 3 separate classrooms or 2 separate classrooms. So for most part, she's doing what the older children are doing. My children are 13, and about to be 11. And Nadia has been my most interested student about writing specifically. So as I was thinking about the writing curriculums, writing programs, we do follow a literature-based approach. So I wasn't really interested in anything that was too canned or too formulaic. So that was one of my criteria as I was selecting programs. And as I joined the informational session, just like this one with Josh and company, I have been convinced enough to give it a try. And our experience about 2 years later now has been nothing but very praiseworthy experience. Nadia has published 2 separate books, one as part of her group program, and the other one is as an independent novelist. She has attended the book award ceremony at Yale, which was quite an experience. I was more giddy about actually attending Yale than anybody else, I think, just because having come from another country, it was one of my dreams to attend it. But so it was really nice to actually see. It does remind you of the Harry Potter castle. Yeah. The hold on, baby. I'm actually speaking right now. Okay, just wait. This is part of the homeschool experience. We're not alone ever. And so just to sum it up, it's been a really, really amazing experience. So not only it has motivated Nadia to write, it has also structured her writing. To my concerns about it being too formulaic of an approach, we follow a literature-based approach, and we didn't want to stifle the writing, this beautiful writing process, or the individualistic process into just a simple formula. There is a process that Written Out Loud follows called the hero's journey that structures the journey of the writing from one stage to another, but it is just so freedom giving, as you've seen on the video clips, and I've seen it actually in Nadia's sessions, or I overheard Nadia's sessions. I've never really supervised any of her work. She was totally and fully facilitated by the Written Out Loud crew. So that just relaxed all of my fears of her being programmed into thinking a certain way or generating a certain pattern. It is very freedom given yet structured approach to writing. That has been my experience. So just to say that homeschooling is a marathon effort. For most part, we try to do so much. We try to be a geography professor and a math professor and a chemistry professor and writing professor. We have to wear so many hats, and I think in many of our experiences, I think many of you will agree that in order for us to learn, we have to be in contact with living ideas and with enthusiastic minds. This program is filled with expert, enthusiastic minds who can transfer the passion for writing just by interacting and facilitating the program. I wouldn't even call it a teaching program, but it's more of a facilitation of the writing process. And each child brings their own, which is something that I think I really appreciate, and that's one of my ideals in homeschooling. And in this, but more than anything, I think my daughter has been writing. I asked her to write something for Josh for this program, and she had mentioned the sense of community. She has been attending and looking forward to the weekly little chat sessions. They're not very time intensive, so I'm wary about my daughter's screen time, just being lost in the cyberspace, but it's one of those times that I just know that she's really collaborating and she's being a creator, not just a consumer in this world. And this sense of community has been really, really enlivening for her. When we're all trying to be broken apart, it seems like there's a lot of discussions that take place about the value of technology in today's education. What is the role of AI versus what is the role of the online education? Online education was horrible during COVID, but at the same time, it does bring us together if you use it correctly, and you can make so much more with the resources that you have just to bring these young minds together. So I think the ability to write and express is something that has been really important to me, and it's such an invaluable skill to have going to college, just the ability to comprehend and read, and you read articles over and over about students losing the ability to read and to connect with the meaning of the content. So just to sum it up, my aspirations about what this program was to deliver for Nadia were thoroughly fulfilled and definitely exceeded. I highly recommend it as part of the language arts or creative writing education. I'm hoping that Nadia will continue participating. And the good thing is that the younger siblings are also taking advantage of it, because Nadia can now facilitate the same process with her younger siblings and lead them through the hero's journey. And my younger daughter is also writing a book on her own, and she wants to do a program eventually, and we save up for it. And I really don't have anything but praiseworthy things to say about it. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I really appreciate Written Out Loud. Thank you.
Oh, Vieta, I appreciate your words very, very much. And I just can't say enough things about your extraordinary daughter, Nadia, and I look forward to working with your other kids as well. Okay, so we're nearing the end of our presentation. I'm very excited to hear everything that you have to say, questions on your mind. I see the chat is filling up. But I just wanted to highlight the moment that Vieta was mentioning, our StoryCon celebration, which takes place in February. You will see glimpses of Nadia in this video, but this is a very, very special moment. We have families who came in not only by car, but by plane to our StoryCon celebration, seeing each other, meeting each other in person, holding each other's books in their hands, and most of all, just forming those relationships that they can then extend into their next creative chapters online. So this is our StoryCon celebration at Yale. And if you, and I'll get into the registration details in a moment, but if you register for a November or January program, you are invited to join us at StoryCon at Yale on February 21st, 2026.
I think the most amazing aspect of Written Out Loud is that the more we do it, the deeper it seems to get. Welcome to StoryCon 2025! Woo! Now, some might think that you're here because we are at Yale, and yet I don't believe that being here at Yale is the deepest reason that you're here. If I had to pick my favorite part of why you're here, it's because now all of you remarkable families get the chance to meet each other. That's why we're here.
I truly believe the best people I've ever known, I have known through this program. I've gotten the pleasure of helping to build and cheer on the community of hundreds of writers that we've created. A community that consistently makes me feel loved. All I have to do is be me, and that's enough. But I'd like us to sit here for a moment and realize just how important it is that we managed to form all of these connections. Some of us without even meeting in person until now. That is an incredible story in itself.
Stories have a magic to them, regardless of the genre. A book can take you across the world without taking a single step, and a page can last a second or an entire lifetime.
Storytelling is almost infinite. It has the ability to turn strangers into friends, friends into collaborators, collaborators into allies, allies into communities, and communities into movements that will change the world. And I don't mind saying, that the world sure needs storytellers to begin changing it right now. Storytellers, all on your feet. Give yourselves one last round of applause. Thank you for coming to StoryCon 2025. Woo!
So here are our upcoming programs. We have two types of program, team and young novelist. In both of our programs, every child will graduate as published authors. Our team storytelling program, you can see in the two circles on the left, it is perfect for first-timers, especially for younger students in upper elementary and early middle school years. In our team program, a crew of 4 to 6 kids writes a novel together. They will meet on Zoom for about 16 hours, an hour or so per week, alternating out loud brainstorming with inspired writing. And together, every crew will co-author a book, sharing the chapter writing duties and brainstorming and outlining the entire book as a team. So that program costs $599. The second type of program is our young novelist program, in which kids still meet with 4 to 6 kids their own age every week. But in this program, the kids write every word of their book themselves. So this is typically for older, more mature writers, high schoolers, 8th graders, 7th graders who are particularly precocious with a lot of confidence. And this program cost $1,149. Both programs are payable in installments of somewhere between $150 to $199 a month if you prefer. And for you, for this group, because Homeschoolers for College Credit is a friend of Written Out Loud, we can offer you an exclusive discount. For every family, you can take 20% off of either program using the code on the left, or if you reach out into your networks and gather up a crew of 4 to 6 kids, each of you can take off 30% of the price of either program. And we will email this code to you after this assembly. Please feel free to pull together your crew from anywhere in your network. So before I wrap up, I also want to throw a little teaser out there. In the next several weeks, we are going to be launching our newest program, which is called the Written Out Loud Storytelling and Writing Academy. And the Academy is going to be a series of events, games, and watch-alongs designed to give kids a taste of the Written Out Loud program. The Academy is sort of designed, as you can see, to be something like a virtual Hogwarts, but specifically for writers and storytellers. And we'll be emailing out more details about the Academy in the next couple of weeks. So in closing, I just want to underline our 3 core principles, which of course we would love your child to experience in our program, but these are also just tried and true principles of writing that we have really come to believe in and that are the opposite of how writing is taught in traditional schools. So please feel free to use these principles in your own homeschool environment. Number 1, we really don't believe that writing is a solitary effort at all, and we believe strongly in the value of considering a team-based approach to writing, in particular, that crucial brainstorming piece. Number 2, instead of considering writing to be only a text-based activity, we really do consider that out loud phase, the speaking and listening, to be part and parcel of the successful, inspired writer. And finally, instead of asking kids only to write based on an unfamiliar form, like an essay or a poem, we really have kids dig into the stories that they love most. Those are the stories that they know by heart, after all, the forms that they can imitate much more naturally, like Harry Potter, Spider-Man, Percy Jackson, Marvel, anime, even video games contain compelling stories that kids can draw upon and become inspired by as a means to develop that confident writing habit. So that is our presentation for this evening. Oh, we're right on time. Look at that. We would love to open it up to the questions that you've put into the chat and to anything off the top of your head. Thank you so much to Jennifer DeRosa. Thank you to each of you. And as I mentioned, not only do we want to hear your questions about this program, but we really want to hear just what you are looking at in terms of the writing environment that is front of you and your students so that we can learn and be a better program as we work with more families like you. So, Maria, any chance, as I've been yammering away, that you've been collecting any of these questions in the chat?
Yes, Becca has answered most of them, but
Oh, wonderful. Becca, you are a genius. Thank you so much for being here, Becca. Hi, Becca.
we have a few more.
Sorry, you can't even see my hand.
Becca is our head of school partnerships and one of the leading lights of our entire community. Do we have a couple more, Maria, that you can call upon, or Becca that you can call upon? Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Maria.
Maria,
I think, yeah, I think we can
can
go
I just
from.
ask Maria if some of those questions, if we could read the question, because I know later when people watch the video, they may not be able to see the question that was asked and answered privately.
That's great.
Sure. I think I can also summarize some of them. Some of the questions that were answered were about if we create our own group, can we still sort of use your teachers, your store directors? The answer is yes. Other questions were about ages. So if we have high schoolers, they're more than welcome to join the team storytelling program or the young novelist program. They can decide. So they can join both programs, absolutely. Someone else asked if we offer anything in person, and we could, based on whether we have already worked in your area or some of our staff is in your area, we could sort of try to come up with in-person classes based on where you are located. If that's something you're also interested in, you can message us, you can let us know where you're located, and we can see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, that is something that we would love to speak with you about. If we don't have someone in our network, very often there is someone that we can find or activate. So if it feels like in person is best for you, we will work with you, even to, potentially help recruit other folks in the area, but certainly to help pull a teacher in. I see a question that Tori asked, and that oh, forgive me, I think it's Nancy N. Rice gave a thumbs up arrow too. So clearly this is a question that's on other people's minds as well. So how do your mentors, we call them story directors again, forgive me as I wave my arms and activate the lights. How do your mentors engage with kiddos who might be less excited or more likely to coast on their crew? Awesome question. So, the out loud storytelling process, obviously, it is a format in which extroverted kids absolutely love, and they flip their lids and they absolutely love suggesting ideas and world building out loud, etc. However, it is also a format in which some of the more reticent and shy kids benefit as well. So just to say, take one example, and Beck and Maria, you're two of the best teachers we've ever had. So you've worked with countless crews containing extroverts and introverts. But one of the things that comes to mind is this exact chat function is a very valuable tool inside our written out loud sessions. So some kids may be more inclined to shout their ideas out loud, but some of our less extroverted kids do indeed use the chat, but they are getting so much out of the conversation, even if they are contributing their ideas initially via text, via Slack. I'm sorry, via the text in the Zoom. Now, I will say that many of the kids who are less verbally expressive gain verbal confidence over the course of the program. So we have seen time and time again, a child will join one of our crews, camera off, muted, but they'll start like messaging something in the chat, and then their microphone comes off, and then their camera comes on, and their confidence builds as a result of being in our out loud creative environment. The small size of the crews has a lot to do with it. And our story directors are absolutely expert at making sure that every voice, whether they're loud or soft or copious or spare, is honored in the building of the book. Becca and Maria, if you have a follow-on thought, I trust your experience so much on this.
Yeah, I would just say from all the crews that I've directed, there's only been one where a shy student ended up being shy the whole time. More often than not, all the shy students end up realizing that everyone's ideas are important and valid. And especially at the beginning, when we're coming up with all the ideas possible that they can in like 2 to 5 minutes, which is a fun game. That's really what starts the process. It's a low threshold for participation. So because we open it up and say, I don't care what you tell me, even if it's skibbity toilet, I'm typing it on our Sparks list and thank the Lord it's never been used in a story before. Baked beans, however, were sparks that have been used in a story before. So you just never know. But that doing stuff like that involves all the students and everyone ends up realizing, oh, my ideas matter, my voice matters. And so they become more confident, they become more willing to share, more willing to read their writing aloud, more willing to offer ideas and put their, give their input and be like, actually, I don't, even if they don't like something, that's the other big thing, right? Not just going along with something because everybody else likes it. I've seen more and more students gain confidence in being able to say, actually, I don't like that. Can we try this maybe? Or what if this? And that's something really fascinating and fun to see, especially in our more quiet students.
Indeed. I see another question in the chat that two people had, and Maria, I know you answered, but again, I just want to voice this so that everyone can hear. Dana asked, do you vet the children in crews to find like-minded kiddos with similar interests? Children that like to write and imagine sci-fi stories versus children with an interest in anime. And Maria very helpfully said, yes, absolutely. We have a notes field so that we can begin to get a sense of your kids' interests as we put the crews together. Absolutely. But I will also add that the key by far in getting the crews together, believe it or not, it's age. As long as the kids are roughly the same age, the diversity of taste is actually a positive. So you can get someone mentioned Anne of Green Gables. Great book, great series. But the Anne of Green Gables child, as long as they're roughly the same age, and we are very, very careful to make sure that kids are, within a year or so of each other, the Anne of Green Gables child will mesh well with the anime child and even the video game child a little better than you might think. We never, ever, in the 5 years and 5,000 kids of doing Written Out Loud, we've never had a complaint about diversity of ideas or tastes.
And Josh, those make the best stories.
They really do. They really do. In fact, yeah, that kind of crazy, I was going to say, sort of like peanut butter and chocolate mixes. Everyone knows how well those go together. But like video games and Anne of Green Gables go together better than you might think. Vieta, in her comments, mentioned the hero's journey. The hero's journey is so deep and so rich, and it ties together all of the great stories from all different forms of media, from opera to plays to drama to anime, digging into the marrow of what makes those stories tick. Characters are characters, drama is drama, and you find commonalities between these various influences in ways, as Maria is saying, that really bring these original stories to life.
Can I say too, the student that loves Anne of Green Gables is going to help the student who loves sci-fi and everything also like keep things grounded, because I've had a group of boys that loved sci-fi and we ended up with orcas as the main characters in this other world with baked beans as a character, and it was way out there. And I was like, man, we needed one person who was like, wait a second, where's the bit of reality in this? So that's where it was fun, but it is nice to have at least one person who can be like, okay, wait, how is all of this fitting together? And how are we fleshing out these characters in this story a little better? So yeah, I agree. They do make some of the best stories.
Nancy, great question. Do politics stay out of your programs? Yes, unequivocally. Yeah, there's really nothing political. We don't have a left, right, or centrist point of view. Characters are characters, and they really are. They have a universal gravity. Anything else? Anything else that we saw? I can just let's see, pick out a question here. Becca and Maria, do you feel like we pretty much answered all the questions in the chat?
We did answer all of them. There's a new one that came from Tori. Is the hero's journey your own method, or is it similar to the archetype hero's journey / story?
Yeah, it is absolutely the archetypal hero's journey and story. For those of you, oh, no problem. For those of you who are unaware of the hero's journey, it is a remarkable study and book. The book came from a writer named Joseph Campbell in the 1940s, who was a professor at Sarah Lawrence. And what Campbell did was he synthesized all of the mythologies from around the world, literally since the dawn of recorded stories. And he found a pattern. And the pattern existed in the myths from, Norse gods to stories from the Far East to stories, from the Australian outback, really going all the way back in time between cultures who had never met. And yet there was a common story there that a hero would hear a call to adventure and first refuse the call because it was too terrifying. And then, as a result of a supernatural aid, would cross a threshold into a new and special world. This hero's journey binds together not just stories that are adventure stories like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, which are obviously enormously popular, but stories like Anne of Green Gables as well, stories that might not on their surface seem to resemble a Star Wars or supernatural adventure story. If you give me half an hour, I can go to town on the hero's journey inside When Harry Met Sally, or This is Spinal Tap. It is there within all of the stories that we love. And one of the great joys that we have in our program is awakening the child's understanding of the hero's journey. And in the same way that, you can't really learn music without understanding those 12 basic notes. There are only 12. In the same way, all of the stories that have shaped your child and every child's consciousness, they all come down to that hero's journey, but it's just a deeply buried secret that we really, really relish teaching here at Written Out Loud. Even the Princess Bride. Yes, Becca, exactly. That's right. We like the freedom to be creative and within a community of peer writers, in that we are also looking for some structure. Yes, that's exactly what our program offers, I would say. I think that the structure of both the hero's journey, the deadlines that our program requires, we tend to avoid schooly nomenclature like, assignments. We don't even call our kids students, we call them storytellers. We don't call our teachers teachers, we call them story directors. And yet there is a real underlying structure. Just to take, the clearest example, at the end of one of our team storytelling sessions, every child is given a mission, and the mission is to write a chapter. Now that chapter can vary in length. A paragraph can be a really great chapter. On the other hand, of course, when the kids get inspired and the story gets going, they'll write for pages. But the point is that at the end of every session, you are given a mission, and you will be much more likely to complete your mission with the understanding that the other 4 kids in your crew are writing their chapters. And you can't leave a gap because you're on a team where your chapter is supposed to be. So the structure has real rigor to it, as does the goal of completing a published book at the end. The train must keep running toward that publication deadline. The high standard that our program sets is very important to our kids, and it results in the productivity that we see from our crews. Now, on the other hand, there is a ton of freedom, as Beck and Maria have described, because of the confluence of different influences that the kids have. So you really can come up with a totally original story with an unlimited capacity for freedom, but one that follows the hero's journey and one that is benchmarked carefully by these deadlines. That make sense? Here we go. Can a writing newbie be a good candidate for this? Yes! Even if grammar and organization needs to be cleaned up or fine-tuned. Absolutely. My teen enjoys story, but has little experience putting her ideas together on paper. We made this program for your child, Christina. We really did. It is precisely this barrier between a love of story and composition of the written word that our program is literally designed to bridge. So every child loves stories. This is 1000% guaranteed. I know that everyone in this room has kids who love stories. And when you get kids talking out loud, the bridge towards actual composition in the text-based form starts to be built. And that's why we recommend our program highly to kids who may be reticent to write, may be very reluctant readers, but who get story, who love story. And when they begin to translate their own influence into their own spoken voice, then the distance to actual writing and then confident writing gets bridged.
Josh, I will say in some, if not most cases, at least I remember I had a lot of students who straight up told me from the first class, my mom signed me up for this. I didn't want to do it. And they are the ones who end up loving the program and realize, oh, okay, this is different. Yes, I want to do it again. This is amazing. And by the way, Ann Rice has a great question. My teen is asking if the peer pressure to write is what drives them to write.
Well, you know, I don't think of it as peer pressure as much as I think of it as story gravity. You know, like a story is a very powerful thing. And I say powerful in a very good way. You know, it's not a commandant or a boss who's telling you have to finish something, and it certainly isn't a bully from a peer. On the contrary, the story itself really does pull us forward. And once again, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, you know, if Becca is assigned to write, you know, the first chapter, the prologue, when the hero is born, and Maria is assigned to write the next chapter when the hero is 12 years old, and that 12-year-old hero is going to adopt the dog that is going to set them on their journey. And then Jennifer is writing chapter 3, where the dog begins speaking to the hero, or something along those lines. Maria doesn't feel peer pressure to make sure that her chapter gets written, but she knows that her team needs that story, that it needs that chapter in order to move forward. So I wouldn't say it's peer pressure any more than a basketball player feels peer pressure to pass the ball when someone has an opportunity to do so. We really do take that team approach in a way that is it's a positive for the kids.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Josh, it starts to feel like a team. Usually lessons 1 through 3 are establishing that team in that they're coming up with ideas together, they're coming up with the story idea itself, they're coming up with the character, so much so that they're all on this same team writing this story, that when it comes time to write chapters, they're thinking, I'm writing this for my crew, I'm writing this for the story that we're creating. And it's less of, oh, I better finish this thing or else, you know, everybody's going to be mad at me. It's just they're so excited to come and be like, look what I did for our character, look at where they are, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I might add that you know, AI is on a lot of people's minds. And, you know, many people now, honestly, it's probably the most popular thing that someone asks me when I say that I run a writing program. They're like, what about AI? AI is getting so good at writing. And I think the key is here, if you just imagine that dynamic that we're describing with 4 or 5 kids who are writing a story together, our kids don't use AI because they want their chapter to represent themselves. And they don't want to deceive the other kids in their crew by putting a piece of literally artificial writing in front of their peers and alleging that it represents their own storytelling. And therefore, even though we certainly didn't create the program to combat AI, you know, I founded the program about 7 years ago. I just had a feeling that it would be a durable methodology. It's the oldest technique. It's the oldest innovation that we have as human beings. And so here comes this new technology, AI, which everyone is up in a tizzy about, in particular when it comes to student writing. But our methodology, this old campfire method of small groups gathering every week, speaking out loud to each other, forcing a sense of honesty and accountability, it simply doesn't allow AI into the room.
And, you know, I feel like I want to speak to that too, because there's, oh, sorry, am I on mute? Oh, I'm not. Okay. There's certainly a lot of soft skills, I think, that are part of the byproduct, I guess, of working on a team that are really important when you're looking forward and looking, you know, towards students going off to college. They're going to be working soon. They're going to be in a situation where it's not just about the work product, right? It's not just about producing that document. Yes, AI could probably produce that document, but there's other skills that are really important. And I do think that even though we're all working more, you know, remotely and lots of online classes, and I mean, our whole organization, you guys are all taking online classes, but things like communication, right, and collaboration, working on group projects, that is something that a lot of students struggle with. I know my own son struggled with working on teams, being able to kind of have those problem solving skills, you know, just all of that working together and that adaptability and being able to work remotely. And those are things that will take them into adulthood too. And so I really like the live component of it. I like the teamwork and the collaboration piece of it. I think that those are really good muscles to start building. The younger, the better. And so, you know, yes, they're going to be writing, and I don't know where AI will fit into their world down the line. But I feel like there's more to it than just producing a document.
Oh, absolutely. Jennifer, thank you. That could not be, I mean, you just distilled the value of our program down. You know, the become a published author piece, it gets the attention. And no question, as you saw in those videos, you know, to hold that published book in one's hands is a priceless asset. However, the real payload of what our program delivers is exactly what you're describing. It's that live, face-to-face, team-based contact. Story pulls these kids together. It makes them pay attention to what I've heard described as parasocial cues. So it's not just the words that they're saying to each other, but it's how they say them to each other. The way that another child instinctively laughs when a child comes up with a funny idea, that excitement that they feel in that live moment, face to face. Nancy, I see you're saying the live component is so important. It's essential. It's essential. We are the opposite of an app. We really are a gathering. And that team-based gathering component it's the lifeblood of what we provide. The published author piece is extremely important, to say the least, but it is secondary to that social, emotional, team-based classroom that we provide.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? I'm seeing Tori's comment there. +1 to Jennifer's comments, especially with word production becoming easier or automated, but to have an idea, communicate it, and refine it in a group will be a differentiator. Exactly. And for my only child, homeschooler needs more at-bats before he joins the workforce or college. Tori, you got it. That's it. Look, we all need more at-bats. But I think that what this program provides are really, really meaningful at-bats. You know, this is the kind of, as they say, the good fear, as they say in acting. When you're taking on something that you are correctly afraid of, you build strength. And our storytelling sessions aren't scary per se, but it takes courage to voice one's idea and to voice another idea after the first one maybe goes over a little sideways, to come back again and to voice another idea. That's the kind of at-bats that really, really builds the best kind of young adults. How many weeks is the program from start to finish? There we go. A nuts and bolts question. Maria, you have the actual weeks in front of you, right? So team and young novelists are a little bit different.
Yes, I'm actually dropping the link in the chat if people want to take a look. But the team storytelling program is a total of 10 weeks, while the young novelist is a total of 15 weeks. Now, each class, whether it's team storytelling or young novelist, is 90 minutes a week, once per week. But all the info is on the page. You can take a look. It includes everything, the price, the schedule. There's also an explainer video. That's pretty much what Josh showed you today. But if you want to take a look at it, again, everything is on that page.
Right.
Maria, do you want to answer this next question super quick too?
Right.
It could be really both. We currently offer a couple options on our website. We have November and January programs up, so you can take a look.
Let's just read the question out loud just in case someone did it. Yeah, go ahead.
Our meeting times planned after the group is formed, so to accommodate all on the team. So we could do either way, really. If families can take a look at our current options on the website, if an option works for your child, you can sign them up, and based on the total number of enrollment and based on their age, we can crew them together. If not, if you want to bring in a crew between 4 to 6 students, you have 100% flexibility on deciding the schedule, when they meet, at what time they meet, and we'll assign a teacher to the group. So we're really flexible with that. Are your guides certified teachers? Are their background degrees? I will say, and Josh, you can answer part of this question, but I will say that our teachers all have background in writing and education, a lot of them both. And all our story directors, all our teachers have been with us for a long time. They've directed a lot of groups and they've directed both programs. They know our curriculum extremely well, and they've done it for years now.
That's right. Yeah, and we're very proud of the fact that not all of our teachers were teachers first. So we have a lot of extraordinary story directors who were actors, many who were drama students. Many of our story directors taught theater camp because there's a lot of crossover between our form of teaching writing and the kind of full body theater exercises that get kids' imagination going. These have proven to be many of our very best and most inspiring teachers. And we believe very, very strongly in any teacher that we're going to put in front of your child. All right. Well, I believe we are at time. Jennifer, thank you so much once again. Everyone who's here, thank you all so much for listening and for the amazing questions that you've put into the chat and making this such a conversation. We will be distributing this recording. Jen, thank you so much for facilitating that. We are copying the questions in the chat so that we can take those into account as well and respond to anything that we didn't get a chance to respond to verbally. And please, I'm going to put, what do I put, Maria or support at? What do I put in here? Or Maria, actually, just go ahead and do it if that's easier.
I'll just put my email. Yeah, of course.
There you go. There you go. Thank you very much. I say this out of my own ineptitude. But we are so happy to work with you to help put a crew together in whatever way. We can crew your child with kids in our community, or we can help you put a crew together in order to take advantage of that 30%, or to simply, get a group of kids together, whether they are cousins or friends, kids in your homeschool pod or network. We're very happy to work with you in every way to optimize the experience. All right. All right. Well, Thomas just popped in again. Thomas, welcome back, but I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you all so much. Yes, there's Maria's email and Maria's Calendly link. If you want to just click on that and book a meeting to speak. We always love face-to-face conversations, to say the least. Please be in touch with us and we'll get back to you right away. Thank you all
so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Jennifer, thanks again.
My pleasure. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.